Fight before we fight Tyson Fury, because AJ's coming off the accident, he's rehabilitating his body, etc. We'll take Deontay Wilder as that warm-up fight, and then we'll fight Tyson Fury in December.
Pretty much you calling Deontay a warm-up.
Yeah.
Eddie.
He just sent Chisora into retirement.
I was there, I was sitting front row. By the way, I respect Wilder, and I think he looked much better in that fight than he has done previously. Correct. But let me tell you, because I was 6 feet away, Anthony Joshua will walk through Deontay Wilder within 3 rounds.
And what you think?
Well, let's talk about AJ and Wilder. You know, Eddie. I heard Eddie Hearn. I was watching Coach Malachi's show. Shout out to True Media, do boxing. Hopefully I said that right. And he basically was saying that Eddie Hearn said AJ needed tune-up before fighting Tyson Fury. And he was saying, oh, you consider Wilder tune-up? And he said, basically, hell yeah, Wilder's a tune-up for Anthony Joshua. I mean, Joshua didn't look too good. I mean, he got belt the ass put on him by old buddy. What's old buddy name? Dan Du Bois. You know, it's this thing where amongst in this boxing space, people think Anthony Joshua is so superior to Deontay Wilder. He was hidden and match made, and you know, there's a lot of bullshit around him. He ain't shit. Because if he was, he would have made that Wilder fight happen at any means necessary. You know, and I remember somebody was talking about the fighters in Philly and shit. And yeah, they was talking about the fighters in Philly. I don't know, it might have been Coach Malachi or somewhere I was watching. They was talking about the fighters in Philly and talking about Brian Jennings, but people forget that Brian Jennings train got derailed because he fought Luis Ortiz, and it was believed at the time Luis Ortiz was on that shit, even at that time, all right? And you know, that kind of fucked his career up. And a little bit after that, that's before Wilder got caught, Anthony Joshua ducked Luis Ortiz. People forget that, like legitimately forget he ducked Luis Ortiz, and then magically I think Luis Ortiz popped hot for the first time. He was willing to relinquish his belt to avoid Ortiz or pay step. Like I said before, I think it was Coach was talking about Will Ortiz was the boogeyman. He was the, and he fought. Yeah, he did. I mean, he fought Brian Jennings early. I mean, I feel like it wasn't on the up and up. And I was a Brian Jennings, still like Brian Jennings. Solid dude to seeing everything I seen from him. And Anthony Joshua avoided him. Like he did. Like I did. I got countless videos on that. All right. If you put their names in, Ortiz and Joshua, in my channel, you'll find the videos, bro. I got articles and everything, right? So, but yeah, motherfucker was ducking that motherfucker. Ortiz was ducking Ortiz, maybe because he was on that shit. But magically he get popped hot. Like I was saying before, AJ and Wilder the same motherfucker, dog. Protected, you know what I'm saying? All that shit, man. They all the same shit, man. Anthony Joshua ain't shit. He just looked more technically sound, but he ain't shit neither. But at this point, I think you would have to favor Anthony Joshua, even the way he lost to Daniel Du Bois. This is a guy who got defeated by a jab by Joe Joyce. Even in that fight, Wilder is done. And I guess he, like I said, can't nobody afford to miss no money. Bruh. You could say my Wilder's making 20, he made this versus Fury. I'm either A, these motherfuckers, even regardless after taxes, they not getting what you think they was getting, or they got poor money management. And I'll say this, can't nobody manage your money like you. You can get an accountant. Look at Tyler Perry, had to fire his whole accountant, his team. This is why you got to learn and manage your own money. That's why I tell people who kind of want to get into business, watch the Bob Ross documentary on Netflix. It might not be the most exciting thing, but it might be one of the most insightful things. You have to learn the business. You can't just say, well, I'm gonna let them handle the business and I do the product. No, you gotta learn the business. You have to learn the business. And I stand on that. You have to learn the business. You have to learn how to invest your money. You have to learn how to stack your money, how to work the real estate. You can't trust somebody, especially in a world where it don't seem to be too many trustworthy people. In the white collar industry, they got ways and loopholes. They got ways and loopholes to exploit you legally, and there ain't nothing you can do about it. You know, and you just, your negligence was the reason you got effed over. You know? So this the best thing to learn how something works, how it operates. And I mean, at the end of the day, I would agree with Eddie Hearn was saying this is a tune-up. Wilder's done. I didn't know Chisora was that done. And I read an article that was wrote of Tyson Fury. I'm pretty sure his video of it. And he said, I've never seen nobody completely fall off the cliff in that amount of time like Derek Chisora did. And at the end of the day, you know, what people got to understand is, like, we seen Shane Mosley versus Floyd Mayweather had one of the biggest moments on Floyd Mayweather versus Floyd Mayweather, and he just instantly got old overnight. It can happen just like that in boxing. And Chisora looked old. So, you know, Wilder can have compassion on Derek Chisora. Ain't no compassion in that ring. No matter how much you love somebody, you care about somebody. But what I will say is, I don't like the energy of Anthony Joshua when it comes to Deontay Wilder's being around. I mean, maybe that's just maybe the way he is. I don't like his energy. But once again, in the sport of boxing, you're about to get a fight. You're about to get a fight 20 years later. And I say that funny, I say that jokingly. You're about to get a past prime fight. You about to get an old plum. And, you know, at the end of the day, it's starting to get sickening. You know, people want fights when they hire. You don't go to Little Caesars and get a hot and ready, and it been sitting in the oven for an hour. Nah, you want it hot and ready. You want it on demand. You know, you don't want to be, you've been sitting in it. Nah, you want it hot and ready. And these fights that they giving us, man, is just bad. I remember my boy bought a hot and ready when I lived on Finkel, the one on Finkel and Myers. They had never hired me too. That's why I say this when I was younger. And they gave him a hot and ready, and then he brought it home. That bitch was purple. He had to take it back. That shit was mad. They gave that nigga a purple hot and ready. It was so old, it was purple and shit. He took that bitch back, bro. You know, so shit was funny. But then you got some talk about how, you know, Deontay Wilder's girlfriend was eyeing Anthony Joshua. And you hear people kind of talking about, like I said, the eyes never lie, man. It be you when you focus as a man and you with your girl and y'all in public, your natural instinct as a man is to watch the surroundings to make sure y'all safe. But honestly, you gotta watch your bitch too. You gotta watch your girl too. Especially when you on that financial level that he on. The eyes never lie, bro. A woman's eyes never lie. I mean, even if you out and about and you see a woman looking at you and you look at her and she snatch her eyes from you, that man's usually a 90% chance, you know, either between the two, like she know you from somewhere, you look like somebody, maybe you did something to her, or she's attracted to you. She's attracted to you. The eyes don't lie, bro. Especially when they be with with another man. Could be a father, could be a brother, could be a husband. Boy, I see it all the time, bro. Look at the woman's eyes when they with a guy. Could be a backdooria ninja, and the way they be looking at it's just like the eyes never lie. That's some real pimpism, some real playerism. Any player will tell you that. You know, even when your girlfriend, you know, girl you with get around your homeboys. And if she looking at you or she eyeing your home, well, you already know what it is. You know what it is, bro. A woman's eyes never lies. And the way she was looking at Joshua, she'd rather be with Joshua. These niggas don't be, they be paying for these hoes. They be simping for these women, dog. And they get the most sluttiest hoes. You know what I mean? They don't get the women that's interested in them for them. She with you because of the money that you got. She with you because you 6'7", not because you a cool ass dude. And some dudes don't care. Some dudes will pay for a hoe. And then, you know, crash out when she get to choosing. Every girl you gonna meet ain't girlfriend material, ain't fiance material, wifey material. They not. But one thing about them Southern niggas, they believe in being in relationships, and even above that, they believe in marriage. They still believe in marriage. They still like, bro, I know a couple of my niggas that keep getting married over and over and over again. That's what they believe in. You know? It's like up north, we got our freedom papers 20, 30 years ago. They just now starting to kind of hear the rumor about it. You know, a lot of them dudes are real traditional dudes still down there. But the women, they more traditional than the women up here, right? They more traditional than the women up here. This should be coming to a halt. But they still more on the non-traditional side of things. So that's word up, son. You know, Duns, grab the Philly with Mob Deep. But yeah, the eyes never lie, man. Sometimes you gotta pay attention to the woman that you with. You gotta throw tests out there and shit, man. But a lot of these dudes with money is goofies with a check. They don't know how to deal with women. You gotta understand, a lot of these dudes got money and don't even know how to still manage their money. So you know they don't know how to manage no bitch. That's why athletes are always a easy lick for people to take advantage of. Accountants, sluts, hoes, shiesty ass family members. They always a lick. But let's just say you dealing with a business person. He already know what it is. Or you dealing with a guy that could have hustled in the street. He know what it is. But athletes have no idea, man. But hey, it is what it is, or it is what it ain't. Hit the link in the description and say find me everywhere. Find me on X, Facebook, Kick, Twitch, Instagram, Spotify, Anchor, Cash App, Venmo, PayPal. Join the Patreon. Peace.